You've been raised on sweet but poisoned stories. They told you that as long as you're kind, everyone will respect you. They glorified softness and vulnerability as if they were spiritual ornaments, promising they would save you. But look closely around. The strong are taking positions, resources, and opportunities, while the weak remain seated, waiting for pity. This is not a fair game. Power is not a reward for patience. It is the spoils claimed by those bold enough to seize it. No one respects a person who bleeds without reason, collapses without a fight, or begs for recognition. When you wait for others to allow you to rise, you've already placed yourself beneath them. History never remembers those who stayed still. Power comes only when you are cold enough to take it without apology. Do not confuse kindness with submission. Someone who bows too easily becomes nothing more than the ground others step on. Every belief you carry may not be your own choice, but programming designed to keep you penned in. Be obedient, and opportunities will come. Do good work, and others will notice. This is the formula for slowness and failure. The world belongs to those who act first, not those who wait in line. And you know well, the line never gets shorter. It only makes you older while someone else claims the place you dreamed of. From this moment on, you are no longer a bystander. Examine the way you operate, how you react to opportunity, how you move when there's an opening in power, and most importantly, are you still waiting for someone to give you the green light? If the answer is yes, it's time to smash the illusion. No one is obligated to clear the way for you. Every time you delay, you hand over the right to decide your fate. Power never arrives in the form of an invitation. It appears as a void, and the first to claim that void sets the rules of the game. Those who sit waiting for permission watch opportunities close in front of them, then soothe themselves with, "Maybe it's not the right time." That moment has already passed. Those who understand the game know there is no right time, only the time you decide. Every form of permission is a fiction, created to keep you docile and easy to control. From today, erase the word waiting from your personal vocabulary. Every move must be calculated and executed the moment the board opens. Stop seeking approval, stop asking what others think, and stop caring how someone feels about your advancement. Every moment you wait, you give others the power to prolong your weakness. Power belongs to those who are cold toward delay and fierce toward action. To have it, you must be willing to endure the discomfort of being misunderstood, opposed, even hated. Power is not bought with nods of approval. It's earned by advancing even when the noise around you is full of resistance. And once you start doing this, you will see a harsh truth. Many who once supported you only did so when you were below them. This world does not reward unconditional patience. It respects results. You can be silent, but you cannot stand still. You can be humble, but you cannot stay bowed. Power is a game of presence. Whoever steps in at the right moment claims the position and holds it at all costs. If you don't fill the space, someone else will. And once they are firmly seated, you will pay many times over to take it back. Everything that slows you down, the fear of judgment, dependence on validation, the habit of waiting for the perfect time, must be destroyed. You are not living in a novel where the protagonist is destined to win. This is a battlefield where the victor is the one who acts first, holds the ground longest, and never asks for permission. No one is coming to save you. There is no all-knowing guide. There is no master holding the key to your future. This path is solitary by design. If the solitude makes you uneasy, see it as a sign you've stepped into the place you need to be. A strategist does not seek comfort. They forge themselves in silence, becoming the storm others hope will pass quickly but never does. From this moment on, stop asking for permission. Stop waiting for opportunity, create it. Stop searching for a seat, take the head of the table. When you understand that permission is just a trick, you will start playing by the only rule worth trusting. Action is your only legitimate right. Power does not require you to be qualified to receive it. It only demands you have the courage to take it. And if you don't take it, accept a lifetime of living under someone else's rules. Everything holding you back did not appear by accident. It is the product of an old blueprint handed to you when you were too young to question it by family, school, society, places that set proper standards, not to make you stronger, but to make you easier to control. You have lived by a script written in advance. Be obedient, be agreeable, become someone others can easily accept. You followed it because you believed it would bring safety. But that kind of safety is nothing more than a gilded cage. This blueprint does not just dictate your actions, it programs your reactions. It teaches you to smile when diminished, to stay silent when pushed aside, and to feel guilty whenever you put your own interests first. It turns you into an easy prediction for anyone who wants to exploit you. And when you push back, the old voice in your head whispers, "Don't go too far. Don't cause trouble." That is not the voice of reason. It is the alarm bell of domestication. If you want to enter a higher tier of power, you cannot patch up this blueprint. Every attempt to fix it only adds weight, like wearing an old suit of armor already full of holes, patching one tear only for another to rip. Real change does not come from decorating the weak parts, but from tearing down the entire frame. This is a deliberate destruction, burning down the version of you programmed by others to make room for the version you choose to create. Look directly at what you are holding onto because you believe it is part of who you are. The habit of waiting for approval before acting, the dependence on praise to keep your motivation, ambitions reduced to fit the standards of others. None of this is your true nature. It is weak code installed by others. Continuing to live with it means agreeing to be a tool in someone else's plan. See yourself as a machine. Every line of code in you either helps you dominate the board or gets you eliminated. You wouldn't install your enemy's software into your defense system, so why continue running mental programming written by those who want you to stay in a lower position? The only upgrade worth anything begins with wiping the entire old memory, leaving no trace of weak commands behind. Destroying the old blueprint is not a gentle process. It will feel like peeling away skin that has clung to you for years. You will hear internal resistance, doubt, and fear of abandonment. But remember, these very reactions are proof that you are dismantling exactly what needs to be dismantled. No evolution happens inside a comfort zone. Destruction means accepting the emptiness before it is filled with a new structure. When you burn the old blueprint, you also erase the excuses that once held you back. I do this to be liked. I stay silent to avoid trouble. I lower myself to keep the peace. These reasons may sound noble, but they are compromises with weakness. They are how you blind yourself to the truth that you have accepted less than your real worth. The new version does not act based on permission. It is built on self-sovereignty, self-assessing value, self-setting standards, self-choosing battles. Every move is no longer a reaction from the old programming, but a calculated step to expand territory and protect power. When the foundation changes, the way you stand, the way you speak, even the way you stay silent will carry a different weight. See this process as burning down a rotted building to construct a fortress. The fire will draw attention, unsettle those around you, and may cause some to leave because they cannot stand the heat. That is a good thing. Those who cannot endure the reconstruction are the ones who cannot survive in the new structure. This is the moment to filter both yourself and your environment. Do not try to carry pieces of the old blueprint just because they feel familiar. Familiarity does not mean safety. In fact, it is bait meant to pull you back into someone else's control zone. Every habit, every reaction, every thought must be placed on the operating table. Does it serve your strength or someone else's interests? If it's the latter, it must disappear. Once the weak programming has been erased, you will pass through a stage of emptiness. Do not fear this emptiness. It is not loss, it is cleared ground ready for construction. In that space, anything new can grow. Strategic thinking, emotional control, relationship standards, power boundaries. This is the rare moment when you are no longer driven by the past, and the future belongs entirely to your choices. Engrave this principle. If you are not willing to destroy the old version of yourself, you will remain trapped in someone else's game, playing by rules written for you to lose. Preserved weakness is legalized fragility. To be truly strong, you must have the courage to shatter your own foundations and rebuild from nothing, keeping nothing that once served submission. From here, every step you take comes from a new operating system, one with no place for asking permission, no flattery software, no feature for unconditional appeasement. You are no longer the product of weak programming, but the architect of strength, and that strength begins with the coldest decision of all, to erase yourself in order to be reborn as someone untouchable. Anyone who has lost control of themselves will never control anything outside of them. Every battle for power begins and ends in your mind. Before the world defeats you, it is your own impulsive reactions, your unconscious outbursts, and your moments of weakness that will collapse you from within. This is why you must turn your inner battlefield into heavily guarded territory, where discipline is the only law. Control does not mean pretending to be calm. It means having full ownership of every reaction, giving no one the right to push your buttons. When someone tries to provoke you, they are not truly aiming at you, they are aiming at your capacity to lose control. And if you lose your composure, you hand them exactly what they want, the advantage. The truly strong do not need to prove they are strong. They do not need to react to confirm their position. They let their opponent reveal their own impatience and self-destruct in their own chaos. When you let emotions drive you, you become a puppet. Anger exposes your weaknesses. Fear makes you retreat. Sadness drags you into quicksand. Every one of these states can be exploited, but when you treat them as tools, the balance of power instantly tilts in your favor. Anger can become fuel to accelerate, but it must never take the wheel. Fear is a warning signal, not your identity. Sadness can deepen your focus, but it must never be allowed to drown you. To master the inner battlefield, you need one iron rule. Anything that triggers you is controlling you. If it controls you, it can defeat you. If it can defeat you, you are still weak. And weakness is a state you cannot accept. Every time an emotion rises up, remember, the one waiting for you to react is the one who wants you to lose. The moment you stay silent, observe, and calculate, you are pulling the blade out of their hands. This is not passivity, it is calculated restraint. You do not avoid conflict out of fear. You choose the timing and manner of your counterattack to maximize impact. The undisciplined will swing their sword the moment they are challenged. The disciplined wait for the opponent's emotional storm to pass, then strike when they have exhausted themselves. The difference lies in timing and self-control. Train yourself to pause before reacting. That pause is the wall that protects your power. In that pause, you do not let raw instinct take the lead. You let strategic reasoning decide. Every second you slow down is a second you reclaim control. It is what turns your next words into arrows, not empty echoes. To maintain emotional discipline, you must reset your standards for what deserves a reaction. Most provocations, bad news, or disrespect are not worth your energy. Behave like a fortress, unmoved by small stones thrown at your walls. Only respond when the impact truly threatens your foundation. And when you do respond, make sure that action shifts the balance, not just satisfies your temporary ego. The hardest part is not holding back when people are kind. It is staying composed when provoked in front of an audience. The instinct to respond immediately to protect your image will tempt you, but the calm silence in that moment plants a different perception in everyone's mind. You are someone whose emotions cannot be controlled, and that image is more powerful than any defense you could speak. Every day is a test. The weak are led by the rhythms of others. Happy when praised, angry when criticized, panicked when threatened. The strong set their own rhythm, unmoved by praise, unshaken by criticism, unchanged in strategy by the crowd's reactions. This is how you hold your ground no matter how chaotic the outside becomes. Mastering the inner battlefield means becoming the one who controls your heartbeat and breath even as situations escalate. Every decision is based on the overall strategy, not a surge of impulse. To achieve this, you must practice in every small moment, from simple conversations to tense conflicts. Each time you keep your discipline, you lay another brick in the fortress of your mind. Let emotions serve you, never let them rule. When you control your own reactions, you control how others can approach you. And when you control how they approach, you control the board. This is the foundation of all lasting power, defeating the enemy within before facing the enemy without. Inside you exists a part you've been taught your whole life to suppress the anger, the coldness, the desire to dominate, the urge for retaliation. You were told that part is evil, that you must lock it away if you want to be a good person. But what you were forced to believe is dangerous is actually the rawest, sharpest source of power you've been wasting. The strong do not destroy their darkness. They train it, forge it into a weapon, and only unleash it when the moment demands. Every wound you've ever endured, betrayal, humiliation, failure is a brick in your fortress. But if you avoid them, they remain cracks in your psychological structure, waiting for the day they collapse. When you face them head-on, accept the pain, and draw energy from it, they become an unbreakable foundation. Darkness is not the opposite of light. It is the depth behind the light, creating balance and true weight. Real strength appears when you have the courage to say to your darkest side, "I see you. I need you." Denying it only creates a version of yourself that pretends to be gentle but shatters easily when cornered. Integrating it turns you into someone who knows when to love and when to be cold. This is wholeness that others cannot predict and cannot counter. Do not confuse using darkness with living in darkness. Blind recklessness is the mark of someone out of control. Controlled danger is the mark of true power. You do not unleash anger to prove you are strong. You release it as the single strike that ends the fight. You do not overpower an opponent to feed your ego. You do it to protect your territory and maintain the upper hand. The darkness within you is also a natural filter for your surroundings. When you let it be present in your gaze, in your silence, the weak or ill-intentioned will keep their distance. Not because you threaten them, but because they sense this is a space they cannot control. This energy is not loud, but it makes others adjust their behavior simply because you are there. Training your darkness begins with recognizing it. When insulted, instead of reacting impulsively, acknowledge the surge of energy inside you. When you feel competitive, don't push it away. Ask, "How can I turn this feeling into a strategy to elevate myself?" When you crave revenge, don't let it guide your hand. Let it guide your plan. Give your darkness a mission. A source of power without direction will destroy you. But once directed, it will make you unshakable. Darkness can help you stay focused when betrayed, maintain discipline when underestimated, and persist when every door seems closed. It is the part of you that needs no motivation, because it feeds on silence and pressure. What truly unnerves people is not an explosive outburst of anger, but the realization that you could do everything they imagine, yet choose not to. That restraint creates a fearsome aura. You are someone who can destroy, yet keeps the weapon sheathed. This is how darkness, when controlled, becomes a tool for imposing the rules of the game without making noise. When darkness is integrated, you enter any room carrying an invisible gravity. Others will sense it without being able to name it. Some will be curious. Others will keep their distance. Both reactions serve you, because they give you the space and time to read the field before acting. More importantly, they ensure you remain an unknown quantity, something every strategist wants to preserve. Most men fear their darkness because it does not fit the good image they want to maintain. But image will not save you when the game turns ruthless. Only wholeness, light, and darkness fused as one will keep you alive and dominant. You don't need anyone to fully understand you. You only need to know yourself and control both sides. Darkness is not the enemy. It is the elite unit you keep hidden inside the fortress, deployed only when you need a swift, decisive victory. And when the world knows you have such a force at your disposal, they will think twice before challenging you. That is an advantage no defensive tactic can replace. Once you've mastered your darkness, you no longer need to strain to prove your strength. You show up, and your presence alone is a warning. You stay silent, and that silence is a declaration. You don't need to shout that you are dangerous. Those with eyes will see it, and those who don't will soon learn their own lesson. Power does not belong to the one who speaks the most, but to the one who sees the clearest. Most people move through life like psychological blind men. They guess, they assume, they react. They act based on what others want them to see, not on the truth of what is actually happening. That is why they are led without even realizing it. A strategist never lets themselves get pulled into that play. They enter any space with a single purpose: to gather data. Observation is both your first weapon and your last layer of armor. Every gesture, every glance, every pause in someone's sentence contains information. The impatient will miss it. Those desperate for attention will never see it. But the one who knows how to observe will spot who is uneasy, who is acting, who cannot stay silent for fear of empty space. While everyone else scrambles to be seen, you sit still and let them reveal their own weaknesses. True power lies in reading what others try to hide, not what they try to show. A long-winded answer reveals insecurity. A quick dart of the eyes when you ask a direct question betrays the fear of exposure. Even short silences can be signs of calculation or confusion. When you refine this ability, every conversation becomes a map guiding your next move. A skilled observer does not need to intimidate through noise. They create pressure through silence. Silence makes others restless and eager to fill it with words, often words they will regret. The more they speak, the more they expose their real motives. You don't need to push, you only need to be patient and keep your eyes open. Observation is not just looking, it is decoding. You must learn to read body language, recognize micro-expressions, analyze the rhythm of speech, and sense shifts in the energy of a room. A statement may sound harmless, but if it comes with a lowered voice and a slight pull of the shoulders, it hides anxiety. These are the data points most people ignore, but a strategist collects them like gold. To master the art of observation, abandon the need to be liked. When you crave acceptance, your focus shifts to performing well instead of observing deeply. You will miss critical signals because your mind is preoccupied with, "How do I look?" Instead, step into the role of the invisible figure, someone whose presence is not to be noticed, but to see everything. Observation is also a shield against manipulation. When you can read someone's intentions before they act on them, you are never caught off guard. You know who is testing your limits, who is trying to push you into a defensive position, and who is seeking to gain an advantage by breaking your focus. This awareness allows you to choose the moment to respond or not respond at all until you decide it's time. Never assume loyalty or morality in anyone just because they say so. Observe repeated behaviors, reactions under pressure, and the choices they make when no one is watching. That is the truth. A strategist understands that appearances are masks, and your job is to see through them without letting the wearer know you are doing it. Training the strategist's eye means turning seeing into reflex. When you walk into a room, scan it entirely. Who is taking up space? Who is avoiding eye contact? Who is trying to control the conversation? And who is sitting quietly but listening to every word? These details tell you who is a potential ally, who is a threat, and who is a pawn that can be moved when necessary. Accurate observation allows you to win without fighting. When you can see 3 moves ahead, you can lead your opponent into trapping themselves while thinking it was their choice. You don't need to force, you only need to arrange. And it all begins with being silent, watching, and remembering. Make yourself the only person in the room who misses nothing. When you know more than everyone else, you won't need to speak louder than anyone. Your awareness will be the invisible weapon that makes others cautious with every move they make in your presence. And that is when you gain the upper hand, not through muscle or shouting, but through an eye that misses nothing. The one who is easy to predict is the one who is easy to defeat. Every strategist knows, power comes not only from what you do, but from the fact that others cannot anticipate your next move. When an opponent has the full map of your mind, the battle is lost before it even begins. The only way to keep an absolute advantage is to become a fluid form changing appearance, energy, and behavior, according to each circumstance, yet always keeping your goal unchanged. A mask is not deception, it is a tool for controlling how you are perceived. The world does not reward unconditional honesty. It rewards those who know when to reveal themselves and when to conceal. You never give people full access to who you are. You give them only the version necessary to gain the advantage in the specific situation. Learn to appear as a trusted ally when you need cooperation. In a competitive environment, become the unmoving opponent who reveals no intention. When you must lead, step into the role of an inspiring figure who draws attention without exposing strategy. Every mask you wear serves a specific purpose, unlocking opportunities, softening opposition, or diverting the eyes that are watching too closely. Those who do not know how to wear a mask are forced to play with their cards face up. They live by the motto, "I am who I am," as if it were a declaration of strength. But in truth, it is an admission that they cannot control their own image. They leave others in charge of perception, and that makes them easy to manipulate. In contrast, those who master the art of the mask adjust their identity as easily as switching pieces on a chessboard to fit the demands of the game. This adaptability requires observation and calculation. You cannot choose the right mask without knowing who you are facing, the context you are in, and the outcome you want. You must read the room, identify motives, and anticipate reactions. Only then does the mask you wear become a lever rather than a burden. Every change in image is a tactical move, not a meaningless performance. What makes masks dangerous is the ability to combine them. When you carry both the warmth of someone trustworthy and the distance of someone unpredictable, you create a paradox that unsettles others. They cannot categorize you, and while their mind is busy searching for answers, you have already moved one step ahead. This unpredictability creates a blind spot in your opponent's strategy, a blind spot you can exploit at any time. Wearing a mask does not mean losing your identity. True identity lies in the goals you pursue and the principles you uphold, not in revealing all your emotions or personal story to everyone. Like a fortified city, you can change the entrance gate, but the walls and the core remain intact. The wise know that mystery is a form of power security. When you master the art of the mask, you also master the pace of others' approach toward you. You decide who gets to see which version of you and for how long. This allows you to control both intimacy and distance. Others will feel they understand you, but in reality, they only know the part you permit them to see. And when they believe they have figured you out, you shift your form, forcing them to rework their entire approach. Not everyone deserves to see your true face. Some should only meet the polite and distant version. Others may encounter the vibrant, inspiring energy you use to motivate. And the rare few you let them see the steel edge behind your smile as a silent warning. Every choice is intentional, never accidental. Remember, predictability is the death of a strategist. Once an opponent knows exactly what you will do, you lose control of the game. By adapting constantly, you not only shield yourself from exposure, but also force others to burn energy trying to keep up. While they struggle to figure you out, you have already moved quietly into position, claimed the space of power, and locked the door before they even realize it. The art of the mask is not deception. It is the method of maintaining an advantage in a world where everyone wears masks. The only difference is that you know you are doing it, and you choose the mask best suited for each battle. When you combine mystery, adaptability, and clear objectives, you do more than avoid being predicted. You turn yourself into the single variable no one can control. No one respects a door that is always open. When you let people walk into your life at will, you invite depletion. Every meaningless conversation, every unconsidered request, every invitation you reluctantly accept drains your energy and focus. A fortress without walls will soon become a public square. And if you are building an empire, a public square is the last thing you want. Ruthless boundaries are not baseless coldness. They are the architecture of strategic defense, built to protect your power, time, and vision. The weak often confuse boundaries with selfishness. They fear saying no because they fear displeasing others. But the price of such leniency is the loss of respect and control. The strong, on the other hand, understand that no is a complete answer, needing no explanation, no apology, and certainly no delay. Begin by identifying who in your life is taking more than they contribute. It could be someone who always comes to you in need but disappears when you need them. Someone who praises you when you are weak but stays silent when you are strong. Someone who fills your time with their problems, then resents you when you prioritize your own work. These people are not just inconveniences, they are strategic vulnerabilities. Every vulnerability left unsealed is an opportunity for outside forces to infiltrate and weaken you from within. When you set boundaries, the loudest pushback will come from those who benefited from your lack of them. They will call you selfish, changed, or cold. That is not a sign you are doing something wrong. It is proof that you are shutting down a resource they were used to exploiting for free. Letting their reactions sway you is allowing them to continue shaping your territory to suit themselves. Defending your territory means managing space, time, and energy the way a strategist manages resources. Not a single second of yours is spent without bringing proportional value. Not a single relationship is maintained out of habit or the illusion of safety. Everyone inside your circle must meet two criteria. They contribute to growth, and they remain loyal to the shared mission. Selecting alliances is the next step. You do not need many people, you need the right people. An alliance is not built on emotion but on strategic complement, skills, information, resources, or the ability to protect one another. Those in your alliance stand with you not only in favorable times, but also when pressure bears down. They do not need to agree with you at all times, but when disagreements arise, they debate to find solutions, not to tear the ranks apart. Building alliances requires vigilance. You do not rush to admit someone simply because they seem pleasant or promise much. You observe how they handle pressure, how they react to failure, and their attitude in success. A person can say everything you want to hear, but the truth is revealed only when they are tested. This is why a strategist never grants power immediately. They test, they measure, and they only open the gate when they are certain. Ruthless boundaries also mean removing connections that no longer hold value. This is not betrayal, it is the recognition that keeping weak ties out of sentiment will drag you down. The weak try to maintain every relationship to feel safe, but in doing so, they become prisoners of social obligation. The strong select and adjust constantly, ensuring every piece in their network works for the collective benefit. Every time you say no to an unfit request, you are saying yes to your focus and strength. Every time you cut off a toxic relationship, you create space for a stronger alliance. And every time you hold your boundaries under pressure, you reinforce your image as a fortress that cannot be shaken. Boundaries are not to keep everyone out, they are to choose who gets in. Alliances are not to make you feel less alone, they are to amplify your capabilities. When you combine the two, you not only protect what you have built, but also create the foundation to expand your territory without fear of losing control. Remember, power cannot exist in an environment without boundaries. A leader cannot lead if anyone can walk into their room to take their time and energy. A strategist cannot win if weak links remain in the ranks. And an empire cannot endure if it does not know when to open the gates to welcome allies and when to close them to keep the fortress still. A man who cannot delay gratification has already placed a collar around his own neck. Most men are not led by a whip, but by the sweet whispers of instant comfort. A late night scrolling on the phone, an overindulgent meal, a nod of agreement to a meaningless outing, it all seems harmless in the moment, but over time, they become the small cuts that erode ambition. This world doesn't need to chain you. It only needs to keep you so immersed in pleasure that you forget you ever wanted more. Delaying gratification is not about rejecting all joy. It is a strategic choice to postpone what is comfortable now in exchange for long-term power. You are not giving up out of fear. You are choosing restraint because true strength requires time to accumulate. Each time you choose discipline over indulgence, you send a message to yourself. The goal matters more than the fleeting thrill. Instant pleasure is like loose change. You spend it quickly and feel good for a moment, but it never makes you rich. Long-term power is like capital investment. It demands patience and the ability to hold steady even when everyone around you is spending loudly. The weak chase what feels good right now. The strong build what will last forever. And by the time results arrive, the gap between the two is too vast to close. Every enduring power structure is fueled by the ability to refuse immediate satisfaction. A general wins not because he fires the most shots, but because he waits for the precise moment to deliver the decisive strike. A successful entrepreneur wins not because he closes deals the fastest, but because he knows when to hold position for a better price. The difference lies in who is cold enough to wait. The modern world is a pleasure distribution machine operating at the speed of light. Everything is designed to shorten the gap between desire and fulfillment. Food delivered to your door, attention available with a single tap, synthetic emotions through a screen. But it is this very ease that has made focused willpower a scarce resource. The one who protects it will rule over the one who spends it. Delaying gratification is not just about controlling habits, it is about mastering the rhythm of life. You decide when you get your reward, and that reward must match a real victory, not serve as an excuse. When the win is small, do not break discipline with excessive celebration. When you are making progress, do not sabotage your momentum with an unnecessary long pause. Pleasure is the final seasoning, not the main ingredient. The wise understand that this game has no finish line. The day you think you have enough is the day you begin losing your advantage. Today's achievement is merely the foundation for tomorrow's challenge. You cannot sleep comfortably on a throne and expect it to still be there when you wake. Every morning is a new conquest, and your ability to preserve the advantage depends on whether you allow yourself to be lulled to sleep by comfort. There are two types of losers, those who never won and those who won but failed to keep it. The second is more dangerous, because they believe success guarantees safety. But power never stays still, it flows toward the one who keeps moving forward. To maintain the advantage, you must stay hungry, not hungry from lack, but hungry from knowing that any slowdown is enough for someone else to overtake you. Treat every moment you refuse instant gratification as an investment in your authority. Every time you ignore temptation, you add another layer of armor. Every time you choose discipline over ease, you sharpen the edge of your blade. And when all of this compounds, you become someone who cannot be easily swayed by any invitation. This game is infinite, and that is your advantage. The weak want an ending, a place where they can stop and enjoy forever. The strong know no such place exists. Evolution never rests, and only those who keep moving will hold the throne. You do not maintain the advantage by waiting. You maintain it by acting as if every victory is just the beginning. When you understand this, pleasure stops being the guide and becomes the prisoner. It is only released when it serves your purpose, and the moment it has done its job, it is locked away again. You do not live to chase a good feeling. You live to build something so powerful that the good feeling comes to find you, and even then, you stay cold enough to reject it if it slows your advance.